Language Foundations Vocabulary Flashcards, helping you achieve understanding.
A distinguishing style. The sharps are flats that follow the clef and indicate the key. A melody used to identify a performer or a dance band or radio, TV program. A sheet with several pages printed on it. It folds to page size and is bound with other signatures to form a book. Your name written in your own handwriting. A distinguishing style. This room needs a woman's touch. Make a more or less disguised reference to. Consume. She didn't touch her food all night. The event of something coming in contact with the body. He longed for the touch of her hand. Be relevant to. A suggestion of some quality. There was a touch of sarcasm in his tone. Have an effect upon. The act of putting two things together with no space between them. At his touch the room filled with lights. Be equal to in quality or ability. Your performance doesn't even touch that of your colleagues. A communicative interaction. He got in touch with his colleagues. A slight attack of illness. He has a touch of rheumatism. Affect emotionally. I was touched by your kind letter of sympathy. The faculty by which external objects or forces are perceived through contact with the body, especially the hands. Only sight and touch enable us to locate objects in the space around us. Tamper with. Don't touch my CDs. To extend as far as. The chair must not touch the wall. A slight but appreciable amount. This dish could use a touch of garlic. Be in direct physical contact with. Make contact. The two buildings touch. The sensation produced by pressure receptors in the skin. She likes the touch of silk on her skin. Color lightly. Cause to be in brief contact with. He touched his toes to the horse's flanks. Comprehend. He could not touch the meaning of the poem. Deal with. Usually used with a form of negation. I wouldn't touch her with a 10-foot pole. Deftness in handling matters. He has a master's touch. Make physical contact with. Come in contact with. She never touched her husband. Perceive via the tactile sense. Helen Keller felt the physical world by touching people and objects around her. The act of soliciting money, as a gift or loan. He watched the beggar trying to make a touch. The feel of mechanical action. This piano has a wonderful touch. The sharps are flats that follow the clef and indicate the key. A melody used to identify a performer or a dance band or radio, TV program. A melody used to identify a performer or a dance band or radio, TV program. A melody that recurs and comes to represent a musical play or movie. Make out of components, often in an improvising manner. She fashioned a tent out of a sheet and a few sticks. How something is done or how it happens. In an abrasive fashion. Characteristic or habitual practice. Consumer goods, especially clothing, in the current mode. The latest and most admired style in clothes and cosmetics and behavior. Space for movement. Make way for. A course of conduct. We went our separate ways. Thing or person that acts to produce a particular effect or achieve an end. The true way to success. A line leading to a place or point. Didn't know the way home. To a great degree or by a great distance. Very much, right. Smart, is regional in the United States. Way over budget. How something is done or how it happens. A lonely way of life. A general category of things, used in the expression, in the way of. They didn't have much in the way of clothing. A journey or passage. They are on the way. Any artifact consisting of a road or path affording passage from one place to another. He said he was looking for the way out. A portion of something divided into shares. They split the loot 3 ways. Doing as one pleases or chooses. If I had my way. The condition of things generally. That's the way it is. The property of distance in general. It's a long way to Moscow. Designate by an identifying term. They styled their nation, the Confederate States. The popular taste at a given time. The 1920s had a style of their own. Distinctive and stylish elegance. A pointed tool for writing or drawing or engraving. How something is done or how it happens. In the characteristic New York style. A way of expressing something, in language or art or music, etc. that is characteristic of a particular person or group of people or period. All the reporters were expected to adopt the style of the newspaper. A particular kind, as to appearance. This style of shoe is in demand. A slender bristle-like or tubular process. A cartilaginous style. Botany, the narrow elongated part of the pistil between the ovary and the stigma. Editorial directions to be followed in spelling and punctuation and capitalization and typographical display. Make consistent with a certain fashion or style. Style the dress. Make consistent with certain rules of style. Style a manuscript. Any of various fixed orders of the various diatonic notes within an octave. The most frequent value of a random variable. A classification of propositions on the basis of whether they claim necessity or possibility or impossibility. Verb inflections that express how the action or state is conceived by the speaker. How something is done or how it happens. Their nomadic mode of existence. A particular functioning condition or arrangement. Switched from keyboard to voice mode. A way of acting or behaving. How something is done or how it happens. Her dignified manner. A kind. What manner of man are you? Music, notation used by musicians. A succession of notes forming a distinctive sequence. A course of reasoning aimed at demonstrating a truth or falsehood. The methodical process of logical reasoning. I can't follow your line of reasoning. A slight depression or fold in the smoothness of a surface. His face has many lines. Mechanical system in a factory whereby an article is conveyed through sites at which successive operations are performed on it. A connected series of events or actions or developments. Historians can only point out those lines for which evidence is available. The road consisting of railroad track and roadbed. A conceptual separation or distinction. There is a narrow line between sanity and insanity. A succession of notes forming a distinctive sequence. A conductor for transmitting electrical or optical signals or electric power. The principal activity in your life that you do to earn money. He's not in my line of business. Make a mark or lines on a surface. Draw a line. Often plural, a means of communication or access. Lines of communication were set up between the two firms. The descendants of one individual. His entire lineage has been warriors. Space for one line of print, 1 column wide and 1/14 inch deep, used to measure advertising. A short personal letter. Drop me a line when you get there. A telephone connection. Be in line with, form a line along. Trees line the riverbank. The maximum credit that a customer is allowed. A particular kind of product or merchandise. A nice line of shoes. A pipe used to transport liquids or gases. A pipeline runs from the wells to the seaport. A commercial organization serving as a common carrier. Acting in conformity. In line with. A formation of people or things one behind another. The line stretched clear around the corner. A formation of people or things one beside another. The line of soldiers advanced with their bayonets fixed. A fortified position, especially one marking the most forward position of troops. They attacked the enemy's line. A length, straight or curved, without breadth or thickness, the trace of a moving point. A mark that is long relative to its width. He drew a line on the chart. A single frequency, or very narrow band, of radiation in a spectrum. A spatial location defined by a real or imaginary unidimensional extent. Cover the interior of. Line the gloves. Fill plentifully. Line one's pockets. In games or sports, a mark indicating positions or bounds of the playing area. Mark with lines. Sorrow had lined his face. Persuasive but insincere talk that is usually intended to deceive or impress. Let me show you my etchings as a rather worn line. Reinforce with fabric. Lined books are more enduring. Something, as a cord or rope, that is long and thin and flexible. A washing line. Text consisting of a row of words written across a page or computer screen. The letter consisted of 3 short lines. A succession of notes forming a distinctive sequence. Exposed to fresh air. The mass of air surrounding the Earth. It was exposed to the air. Travel via aircraft. Air travel involves too much waiting in airports. Exposed to cool or cold air so as to cool or freshen. Air the old winter clothes. A slight wind, usually refreshing. As he waited, he could feel the air on his neck. A succession of notes forming a distinctive sequence. She was humming an air from Beethoven. A distinctive but intangible quality surrounding a person or thing. An air of mystery. Broadcast over the airwaves, as in radio or television. We cannot air this X-rated song. Make public. She aired her opinions on welfare. Medium for radio and television broadcasting. The program was on the air from 9 till midnight. A mixture of gases, especially oxygen, required for breathing, the stuff that the wind consists of. Air pollution. Be broadcast. This show will air Saturdays at 2 p.m. Exposed to warm or heated air, so as to dry. Once thought to be one of 4 elements composing the universe, Empedocles. The region above the ground. Her hand stopped in mid-air. A succession of notes forming a distinctive sequence. The perception of pleasant arrangements of musical notes. An intense or violent exertion. Difficulty that causes worry or emotional tension. She endured the stresses and strains of life. Cause to be tense and uneasy or nervous or anxious. Test the limits of. Become stretched or tense or taut. The rope strained when the weight was attached. A succession of notes forming a distinctive sequence. The act of singing. Remove by passing through a filter. Separate by passing through a sieve or other straining device to separate out coarser elements. Use to the utmost. Exert vigorously or to full capacity. Don't strain your mind too much. Biology. A group of organisms within a species that differ in trivial ways from similar groups. A new strain of microorganisms. A special variety of domesticated animals within a species. He created a new strain of sheep. The general meaning or substance of an utterance. To exert much effort or energy. Straining our ears to hear. An effortful attempt to attain a goal. Rub through a strainer or process in an electric blender. Alter the shape of something by stress. Psychology. Nervousness resulting from mental stress. His responsibilities were a constant strain. Injury to a muscle, often caused by overuse, results in swelling and pain. Physics. Deformation of a physical body under the action of applied forces. Adjust the pitches of musical instruments. My piano needs to be tuned. Adjust for better functioning. Tune the engine. A succession of notes forming a distinctive sequence. The adjustment of a radio receiver or other circuit to a required frequency. The property of producing accurately a note of a given pitch. He cannot sing in tune. Paper used for writing or printing. Paper used for writing or printing. A large piece of fabric, usually canvas fabric, by means of which wind is used to propel a sailing vessel. Bed linen consisting of a large rectangular piece of cotton or linen cloth, used in pairs. Nautical. A line, rope or chain, that regulates the angle at which a sail is set in relation to the wind. A flat artifact that is thin relative to its length and width. Mathematics, an unbounded two-dimensional shape. Newspaper with half-size pages. Any broad thin expanse or surface. A sheet of ice. Come down as if in sheets. The rain was sheeting down during the monsoon. Cover with a sheet, as if by wrapping. Sheet the body. Paper used for writing or printing. Assign a specified, usually proper name to. They named their son David. Give or make a list of. Name individually. Give the names of. Give the name or identifying characteristics of. Refer to by name or some other identifying characteristic property. Many senators were named in connection with the scandal. Family based on male descent. He had no sons and there was no one to carry on his name. Determine or distinguish the nature of a problem or an illness through a diagnostic analysis. Charge with a function. Charge to be. She was named head of the committee. Identify as in botany or biology, for example. A defamatory or abusive word or phrase. A well-known or notable person. They studied all the great names in the history of France. Make reference to. His name was mentioned in connection with the invention. Create and charge with a task or function. A language unit by which a person or thing is known. His name really is George Washington. A person's reputation. He wanted to protect his good name. By the sanction or authority of. Halt in the name of the law. Mention and identify by name. Name your accomplices. The property of appealing to people in general, usually by appearing to have qualities in common with them. A person's own signature. American revolutionary patriot who was president of the Continental Congress, was the first signer of the Declaration of Independence, 1737 to 1793. A secret word or phrase known only to a restricted group. A second confirming signature endorsing a document already signed. Add one's signature to after another's to attest authenticity. You must countersign on this line of the contract. A signature written by one person for another. A variant form of a grapheme, as M, or a handwritten version of that grapheme. Mark with one signature. The author autographed his book. A person's own signature. Something written by one's own hand. A signature that validates something. The cashier would not cash the check without an endorsement. A speech seconding a motion. The act of endorsing. A star athlete can make a lot of money from endorsements. Formal and explicit approval. A Democrat usually gets the union's endorsement. A promotional statement, as found on the dust jackets of books. A second confirming signature endorsing a document already signed. A signature that validates something. A speech seconding a motion. The act of endorsing. Formal and explicit approval. A promotional statement, as found on the dust jackets of books. The signature of a sovereign on an official document.
Become our student and get access to effective and free educational materials. Subscribe to our YouTube channel to become a part of our growing YouTube community and to learn English effectively.